Hi, everybody. George Chamberlin here, executive editor for the Daily Transcript, and we're going to follow up on on the roundtable we just finished. I just talked a moment ago, as you may know, with Keith Solar, who is an attorney who specializes in a lot of the things related to legally to the water and drought situation. And joining me now, following the roundtable, is Scott Lawn. Scott heads up Greenway Lawn Aeration and is very much involved with it. And what I wanted to talk to Scott about was the fact that we spent a lot of time on the roundtable talking about the bureaucratic consequences and activities involved with the drought situation. But Scott deals with this on a day-to-day basis with his thousands of clients all around San Diego County and Southern California. Scott, thanks for coming in for the roundtable today.
You're welcome, George.
I really like what you contributed to the roundtable because, you know, we've all been told we need to conserve, okay? And never mind the other side of the equation, the supply situation.
Right.
We're talking about now the demand and use situation. And you brought up just so many simple things that are available to homeowners today and businesses. So go over some of those things if you would.
Sure. A lot of talk has been made about the conservation that we need to do in water. And I think most people that I talk to, and I talk to hundreds on a monthly basis, they want to do the right thing. They want to conserve on water. They just don't know how or what they should do. So we spend a lot of time educating our clients when we do consultations on what they can do for their particular landscapes and lawns. And I believe fiercely that we can save our landscapes and lawns by using technology that's available. And some of that technology that you just asked me about would be, if you have a lawn, you should aerate it. Aeration is a process of punching holes like they do on a golf course.
Sure.
And that allows water to get directly delivered to the lawn, to the root zone, and you use less water on an aerated lawn. So it just makes sense. It's like getting an oil change.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Just should do it.
Yeah, right.
And the next things, of course, are using the technology that's available today. Stream rotors. There's been a lot of talk, but not enough education on it. And stream rotors are simply an irrigation technique where the water comes out much slower in larger droplets, lands where it's been pointed to, and doesn't evaporate in the air like most of the homeowners that would see this know when their sprinklers go on, it evaporates into the air, and you lose 25 to 30% of the water efficiency going away. With the stream rotors, you can eliminate that and save about 33% water, and it's scientific. It's not magic, it's science. Next thing, of course, would be drip irrigation. If you have a planter bed, planter beds are whatever isn't a lawn where you have existing plants, whether they're large or small. You put a drip irrigation system in there, and it can be the old style with the half-inch tube and a quarter-inch going to each individual plant, or the new style, which is an inline drip situation where it's actually molded into the tubing. That can be wrapped around the plants, get the water directly to the plant, and not watering non-essential areas. Just makes sense. That alone will save 50% of the water that would normally be distributed in a spray situation.
Talk about something else that you brought up during the roundtable, and that's that thing that everybody has in their garage. That is an old, antiquated piece of technology called the timer.
Right. There's so many. We see so many that actually we started collecting them.
You should come get the one out of my house.
My son has a collection in his office of the old styles so that we can preserve what people used to use. And so we always say, can we take this when we replace the clock? But that's probably one of the first places to start, is to get an updated clock. If your clock is older than 5 years, you should just consider getting a new one. One of the simplest things that these clocks do is they give you the opportunity to simply change the water setting from the 100%, whatever amount of minutes you've been watering it, to, on a really hot day, 120 or 150 because it's 100 degrees, or back down to 50%. So you have the opportunity with the swipe of one dial to switch this over and save water immediately. And so many people say, oh, I don't even know how to operate it. It's so confusing. I lost the instructions. Well, with these modern,
pretty simple.
With the modern, it's really very simple.
I think I could even do that. So.
The other thing that these modern clocks do that makes the most sense is when we have water restrictions and they say you can only water for 10 minutes.
This is great.
Watering for 10 minutes at a time is kind of silly. And if you think about what I'm about to say afterwards, you'll see how much sense it makes. Instead of watering for 10 minutes where you have a chance in our soil here in San Diego for the water not to actually soak in and do the job it's supposed to do, instead run off and leave the property, if you water for 3 minutes, then skip about an hour, water for 3 minutes, then skip an hour and water for 3 minutes, you'll actually use
Wow.
10% less water and do a much better job because it will saturate in and you will get no water runoff. And that's an example. It may be 2 minutes and 2 minutes, it depends on the property. But that is what a modern clock can do, and so much more.
No, that's great. That's really great stuff. I'm going to definitely explore that. We're seeing a lot of landscape alternatives out there right
Yes,
now.
of course.
And there's been a number of suggestions legislatively about people to put in artificial turf and things like that. And we talked a fair amount about that because there's one end of the spectrum of artificial turf and there's the other end, right?
Exactly. It's like any product series in almost any industry. There's the really, really bad, and there's the really, really good, and then there's a lot in between.
Yeah.
I would highly suggest that anyone considering it will consider a higher end. The lower end just won't last. It won't take wear, it won't take any traffic pattern. It just won't look good in a year or so. On top of that, usually the lower spectrum will show seams almost immediately,
Yeah.
and that's quite a detractor. If you've ever seen one in your neighborhood or in a neighborhood you've driven through, you can immediately identify a really bad installation versus a really good. Some of that has to do with the installation contractor. A big percentage has to do with the quality of the product.
What about the zero-scape stuff that we see out there? Again, if it's done right, it can be effective,
You bet.
but it's not all done right, is it?
No, exactly. When you take something out and put in the zero-scape, you still have to irrigate it. So that's what it still has to be irrigated. It has to have a good control clock that will allow you to water multiple times, and it has to have the proper technology of that inline drip technology where you can put it underneath the subsurface. So if you have rock or DG, the irrigation aspect is actually underneath, so it's not visible.
Sure.
And so those things can be done, and they can be done quite nicely. We've done hundreds and hundreds of both, and so my leaning obviously is towards natural landscaping,
Of course.
and the beauty of a beautiful lawn. But in that alternative, as a landscape contractor, we do all of those things, and we certainly can guide you through that process should you be there.
Great stuff. I mean, it's amazing how things have changed over time,
Oh, yeah.
and you've watched the industry change as well. And,
You bet.
And you're doing your part to deal with this drought situation, as is your entire industry.
You bet.
The industry's doing a great job.
They really are.
Yeah. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can call us at Greenway. We're up in North County. Our office is in Poway, and it's
Okay.
858-486-8277. And they can find us on the web under greenway.com, grnway.com.
Great. Well, great participation. Thanks for being.
Thank you
at
for
the
having me. I
roundtable.
appreciate it. Anytime you need me, call me.
You bet, Scott. Thanks a
Okay,
lot.
Thanks.